This is going to be your soulmate twin flame relationship reading. If it's meant for you, it's meant for you. We're going to have an important conversation between the two of you. We're going to see what you're wanting to express to each other throughout your headspace, your heart space, and even the next steps moving forward. So stay tuned and check out this conversation and let me know if it resonates with you. We are going to start off with some overall themes and messages, but before I do that, I just want to mention that we are in a very interesting astrological time in the next few days or so, because we are right upon Mercury retrograde. You know, we have been in the pre-shadow for a little while now. As of August 5th, we will have the full-blown Mercury retrograde vibes going on here. That means people popping up from the past, technology glitches, miscommunications. I know many of you have been feeling the anxiety. You know, it's been rising as we're getting closer and closer to Mercury retrograde. Now, I don't want any of you in fear. You don't have to fear this time. It is all about redoing, revisiting, reevaluating. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. I would just say this. If you are encountering people popping up from your past, this can also be a major test for you to close something out, you know, to pass that test and move yourself forward. Now, along with this, we have a Venus square Uranus aspect. And essentially, you know, Venus is all about love and relationships and money. And Uranus is all about upheaval and something sudden and changes happening. So there's really this energy that says it could go either way. We can strengthen some bonds, but at the same time, we can also find out that, you know, maybe this isn't exactly what we're looking for or wanting, you know? It all depends on the circumstances or perspective. Now, on top of that, we do have a new moon in Leo happening all around the same time. And this is an energy that's basically saying, look, we can't sweep everything under the rug anymore. We can't avoid, more than ever right now, your desire to move forward has to be stronger than being pulled backwards. You know, I always ask, are you in the old? Are you in the new? And sometimes people say to me, they're not sure what that means. Well, just to reiterate, you know, for example, Kelly of yesteryear would do this. She would not right now. If I was in the old energy, I would be repeating cycles. I would be, you know, overgiving, overdoing, problem solving. Kelly of today has boundaries that say, nope, can't go there, can't do it. Wish you well, all the best, you know, but it's all about new energy. So you have to ask yourself, what is it that you want to do moving forward? Who do you want to be? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? I don't want to remind everybody, but again, isn't it odd that we're already in August, meaning we're really starting to get to the tail end of the year? And you might be saying, well, how could that be? I mean, it's still summertime here in this part of the world. Well, time has been flying, days, weeks, months, the process slowly, but the days have been moving quickly. And now I kind of feel like there's this mission for the rest of the year. And I don't know if you identify with that or not. Please let me know in the comments, but it's definitely a strong vibe. So let's take an overall card here to see what we need to know this week about your connection before we start this conversation. And we have healing family issues. Your love life benefits as you forgive your parents. Wow. I mean, that's a deep one. I talk to people every day about their traumas, triggers, and hurts. And the one thing that I notice is how important family relationships are, or family dynamics are. I find myself mapping out people's astrology throughout their family, as in, what are the zodiac signs of your parents, your siblings, you know, and of course, your partner or someone you're really, you know, involved with. We look at all the dynamics of how that can affect your relationships. Now, oftentimes these traumas, triggers, and hurts from childhood or family matters start long before, you know, your relationship with the person that you're thinking about or watching this video for. It's something that's sort of ingrained in us, and we have to break those patterns. You know, oftentimes ancestral karma or debt are really significant, and it's a matter of growth and evolution and change. And that's why I even said earlier, like, your will to move yourself forward has to be stronger than the pull that's bringing you backwards at times, you know? So if you're in the moment right now of healing family issues, I'm not surprised, because this is super important. You know, we have to focus on ourselves and how to heal those past family issues so that we can have better relationships moving forward. Now let's see what message comes out of this deck here to see. Wow, twin flame. Okay. You know what I find really interesting is the label of twin flame. You might notice that I don't always use it unless it's on a card or specifically, written somewhere. For example, books, cards, whatever. I do believe that the twin flame journey exists, but I will say that a lot of it comes down to a spiritual reawakening. We get into these situations where we're sparked at a time in our life where we absolutely needed that person, that situation to come in and change our life. It throws our lives upside down, all around. So there you go. Twin flame card came right out. Now let's take a look at the, I think this is called the inner child, or I forget now the title of this deck. My apologies. Oracle. Let's see what we need to know, because we were just talking about healing family issues. Find your haven. There is a place of wonder waiting just for you. What is your sacred place? Where do you like to go? There's a little river that I like to go to when I go for a walk or a hike. And it's sort of my Zen place, as I always call it. Where do you like to go when you're looking to heal, or to connect? So let's get into the conversation between you and your person. So we're going to take a look at two sides here, okay? And you can pick whatever side you'd like for you and for your person. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign this side here to you and then this side over here to your person. And we will have the conversation. So I have two decks ready to go. And we'll see what we need to know, because sometimes there could be repeating cards or messages. Let's have a look. Now, in your headspace, okay, this is about what you want to tell your person, like as in what are you thinking? You've got the Nine of Pentacles. This is about feeling good in your own skin. So what are you thinking about? Well, you're thinking about how to feel good. And that's very strong Venus energy. We kind of call this card the pre-Empress energy. This is about feeling good in your own skin, self-worth, self-value, and self-respect. Now, what else do we need to know about this energy? The Queen of Cups. Okay, so here's the thing. The Queen of Cups says, trust your intuition. It also says lean back and don't overgive. I think where there might be a little bit of a battle is the fact that you want to give because you love your person, your connection, whatever description or twin flame that you'd like to use. I would just say that the more you give, the more everything runs away from you. The importance here is to give to yourself. That's why the Nine of Pentacles is there, because it's basically saying self-worth, self-value, and self-respect, right? So you're looking for a balance. And I don't know, I'm channeling a specific message. Hold on a second. Let me just say something and you let me know if this resonates. There may have been a moment in your mind recently where you wanted to buy a gift for your person. You know how much they love it, how much they would love to have it, and you've wanted to buy that gift. But at the same time, whether you know it or not, buying that gift may not be a good idea. And you might be wondering why I'm saying this. I don't know where this is coming from, but it has to do with this energy here of the Queen of Cups. It kind of sparked something in me. It's nice to be generous, and it's nice to give. At the same time, if you go and buy that item, as much as it may be appreciated, it might make your person feel like they haven't earned it. It's important for your person to earn their confidence, or their gifts in a way. And I know we talk about giving unconditionally, but here's the dilemma in that. A lot of the times people don't give unconditionally. Like growing up, my father used to say, Kelly, if you're going to give out of the goodness of your heart. Don't have an expectation of something in return. And I agree with that. So if you want to give something to someone, then okay, don't have any expectations of anything in return. Because a lot of the times we will give and we'll say, I do this, and this, and who thinks about me? Or they don't reciprocate, or they don't think of me the same way I think of them. So you have to be mindful of what your intentions are when you are giving. Because a lot of the times people give because they want to be loved in return. So sorry for the side note. I don't know who that was for, but if you've been thinking about buying a gift for somebody because you know they would like it or they would want it, you might want to think about your intentions behind it, you know? Let's see what else you need to know here. Yeah, the Emperor. So the Emperor is about making a power move, and that's lovely energy. You know, I think that what you're wanting, maybe what you want to communicate to your person, is that you want them to be the Emperor. You want them to take the lead. You want to feel safe and secure. But if that's the case, and you want them to be the Emperor who's in that masculine energy that provides or that gives, then, you know, you have to let them be in that role. You can't assume that role. That's what happens when you overgive, overdo, and problem solve. You end up putting yourself in a very strong masculine energy. And I saw something recently that I really wanted to pass along. And that was, if you're feeling exhausted all the time, meaning you're overgiving, you're overdoing, you're just so over it, you're tired of overextending yourself to everybody else, that's a very strong indicator that you are in your masculine energy. And if you want a person to give to you, then you have to be mindful of your masculine energy, because that polarity cannot exist if you are in your masculine and they are trying to be as well. It just doesn't mesh. The polarity is that balance of the masculine and feminine energies, right? And again, I'm not saying you can't give to other people. You can, but it's got to be in some sort of moderation, and ask yourself, well, what are the intentions behind it? Now, the other thing that you might be noticing with this Emperor energy in your headspace and what you want to communicate is that you want to have moves made. And you can't force somebody to do that. You know, your person's going to make the moves that they're going to make based on their feelings and their thoughts. You can only make decisions for yourself. So as a reminder, I would say making power moves, right? The Emperor plays chess, not checkers. If you're making power moves, they've got to be for yourself, meaning your personal growth and evolution. And I say this very respectfully, because the other day in my online live, somebody made a comment about making a move and feeling sort of disappointed by that move. And, you know, we all asked about that move, you know, what was it? And you have to be mindful about making moves in regards to a relationship, because if we chase a person or have an expectation, or something doesn't go the way in which we would like it, don't let that deter you, because that's not necessarily making a move. It's expressing something, which, yes, that's a beautiful thing if you're willing to put yourself out there and express. But not everything is going to go our way. There are going to be times where, you know, people reciprocate, and there are times that they won't. And it does tell you a lot about a person, as in the person that you're making these moves with or towards. If they reciprocate, that's great. And if they don't, well, then that provides you some indication of where you stand or where the connection is, you know. And I do say that very, very respectfully. So when it comes to making your own moves, right, they've got to be for your personal growth and evolution, not in regards to another person. Because the moves you make are going to radiate, you know, and attract the right vibes. So let's see. Let's take a look in your person's headspace, and let's see what they want to communicate in regards to their thoughts. And we have here the Three of Cups. Okay, Three of Cups is a card of celebration, traditionally. The only thing when I see that card is two's company, three's a crowd. So yeah, there's the Hangman energy. So there's something here that says, well, two things. One, they would love to celebrate. They would love that next level, because it can also mean a proposal, you know, or engagement, same thing, a wedding, a party, an event, you know, maybe they need that to come out of their sort of limbo or neither nor kind of energy. But if there's too many chefs in the kitchen, you know, they might be feeling a little bit of pressure and staying stagnant, or in general, just neither nor, looking for clarity, pausing to find clarity. And sometimes that's not a bad thing. You know, sometimes we do take a rest in order to figure out what's next. So it really depends on the connection or the situation. Well, there's the Two of Pentacles. So your person might be juggling a lot of things right now. And whenever I see the Two of Pentacles, I do say to myself, okay, so what's the biggest fish to fry? Meaning, what's at the top of the list? Your person may have a huge list of things, and, you know, maybe they're not having their priorities in order. You know, maybe they just don't know what to do, so they're staying a little bit stuck. Maybe there's interference somewhere in the connection. And that doesn't have to mean romantically. It can be friends, it can be family, it can be religious differences, cultural differences, could be anything, okay? So let's see. Sorry, I've got a kitty cat who's trying to rub against the table and shake the camera. So let's see what's going on in your heart space. What do you want to communicate from your heart? And we have here the King of Wands. See, there you go. You want purpose. You want passion. You want forward motion. You want a very nurturing energy. But there's a bit of a tower moment in your heart. And that tower moment is kind of forcing you to rebuild and reevaluate. And maybe that's a bit of the Mercury retrograde vibes too. Now, if you'd like me to do a Mercury retrograde relationship talk or conversation, you know, for the next month, let me know in the comments, and I will do that. If you want to put some questions also into the comments of what you'd like me to look into, you know, I can do that too, obviously generally. And maybe I'll gather some of your questions and do a mini conversation like this for the entire season of the next Mercury retrograde, from I think August 5th until the end of August. But in your heart space, there might be a bit of a tower moment, and you might be feeling a bit stressed. And here's why: because you want equal giving and receiving and balance. You may not be feeling that there's balance in this connection. I mean, there's always the love there. It's never about feelings, just so you know. It's always about capacity, whether somebody can give to the connection. So you're expressing in your heart space that you want balance. You want to feel good. You want to feel nurtured, you know, and that there's this forward motion. Okay, let's see what's going on in your person's heart space. What do they want to communicate about their feelings? They're in a bit of a conflict. You know, typically this card is a bit of a headache, you know, where, again, it's not that they don't love, it's that they're in this conflict of what to do. And they're going through a death and a rebirth and total transformation. And there is this clarity and this enlightenment there, but they've got to process that in order to get out of that hanged man energy. And with that, we have, oh, the Lovers, see? Deep soul connection. They definitely feel the love. That's really, really beautiful. Okay, let's go to the next steps. Let's look at what are your next steps. What would you like to communicate as your next steps? You want to move forward swiftly. So be very careful of that. And I completely understand why that is the case. You know, we all want instant gratification. You know, we watch TV shows like The Bachelor, Bachelorette, and Love is Blind, and any of these dating shows, you know, that are currently on TV. There's always this very quick movement. You know, it's a very quick, I love you, I want you, you're my person. But there's work that goes with this. You know, like, relationships are not something that that we should rush. It takes time to build solid connections. We do need to trust the process, as difficult as that is, you know? So let's see. You want to move forward swiftly. The Magician is all about manifestation and communication. I mean, this is a card of Mercury, so there we go. Mercury retrograde. You know, communication is going to be super important over the next little while, but you have all the tools. You know, it's about effective communication, especially, you know, to move this forward. You've got to be very clear in what you want. If your person can match that or, you know, provide the same thing, then that's great. But it is important to communicate clearly. And with that, we have here the Knight of Wands. Okay, you really want to move forward swiftly. You've got a lot of passion in your pants. You feel the intensity. You feel the chemistry. And I completely understand that. And I mean, I'm going to take it a little bit back for a moment to the twin flame card. This is the issue with the twin flame dynamic. And that is, it's the cake analogy. If you've watched my cake analogy, you know. And if you haven't, it is pinned to my profile on Instagram and TikTok. The thing about that energy is that we get so caught up in this intensity. It feels unlike anything you've ever felt before. And it's like the universe dangles this carrot at you. That's why I call it a carrot cake, where you love it, you eat it. It's so amazing. And you live it up for a while. The two of you feel amazing together. But then all of a sudden things start shifting. You know, your person starts to run. They seem distant. You know, they're not behaving the way that they used to. And it's not because they don't love you or care about you. It's because they don't feel good enough for the connection or for the amount of overgiving that you're doing. So they tend to sort of go into that feminine energy, and it puts you in a chasing energy. That's how you get into your masculine so much. Even though it is giving you a jolt of energy to do the things you want to do in life, to pursue the things you want, included in that is chasing the connection or the relationship. And that basically means that, you know, you end up chasing, and the universe takes away that carrot and says, okay, now you got to go figure out how to get it back. And not necessarily back from this person, but get it back to you. Now, there's a double meaning of back to you. You've got to find yourself, your self-worth, self-respect, self-value, you know, your boundaries. What are you willing to accept and not willing to accept? So the reason why I'm talking about the cake analogy or the idea of this instant gratification is the fact that you have the Knight of Wands, passion in the pants, you know, the intensity, this swift movement, and wanting to manifest it. You know, I hear so many people wanting to manifest their specific person, and there's so many people online that want to give you all the tools to manifest a specific person. And I understand that, and I can see how it could be a thing. The only problem is that when we focus so heavily on the other person, we're taking the energy away from ourselves, which means that we're keeping ourselves stuck. And that's why the overgiving, the overdoing, and the problem solving for other people keeps us in an energy that is held back and waiting and wanting and not manifesting, right? Because it all comes down to our self-concept and how we feel about ourselves. If we feel, you know, this is what we're good enough for, this is what we get. And the same goes for your person, right? Especially when they run and they don't feel good enough, or they run towards somebody else who, you know, is not so great. That's what they feel good enough for. So it's kind of coming full circle back to this energy here where I'm saying, be mindful of the overgiving, you know, be in this Nine of Pentacles, which is that self-worth, self-value, self-respect. Be in the power moves energy. That means making moves for yourself, because when you vibrate at a higher level, a more secure level, a more confident level, you're going to attract that in your person, you know, because that polarity will be more apparent. If you're in that masculine energy and you're wanting a masculine energy person, then like I said, it almost repels. That's why it runs away. That's why people describe twin flames as like magnetic. Remember what it is to look at a magnet. They have to attract to each other. and we don't want them to repel. That's why it usually repels, is because you end up in the same type of energy, right? So it doesn't work when you're trying to be together and you're both trying to lead or be in that masculine energy. I digress. So let's see what your person's next steps. Oh, there we go. We had 2 cards. You know, it's interesting. They want the happiness. They do. And I think we all do. I don't think there's a question about whether or not we want it. The question is, will we allow it? As I always say, it's one thing to ask for happiness, another thing to allow it. And the Judgment card here says it's a wake-up call. I mean, your person is really in the process of making some decisions about what they want or where they want to head in their life. And the 7 of Pentacles says the seeds are planted. It's not going to harvest overnight. It will in due time, you know. But again, it's a tricky one. It doesn't have to be, though, as long as we're trusting the process. Do you notice the difference? By the way, I just want to make a point as I'm, analyzing these cards here. Do you notice the difference? This side here is all about making moves, right? You've got the Emperor, which is the King of Kings, that strong energy. There's that King of Wands, very strong, nurturing, powerful. This very quick energy here that says, I want that passion, I want that chemistry, I want that swift movement of the Knight of Swords here. I want to communicate it, I want to manifest it. Everything is fast, fast, fast. Strong, strong, strong. And on this side, it's more like, I'm in this limbo. I need to figure out the priorities in my life. I'm juggling. Geez, I have a bit of a headache. I've got stress in my life. I'm going through a transformation and change. I love big time. I really feel these feelings. I want this happiness, but I have to decide to be in that happy energy and have to let it unfold. These seeds are not going to harvest overnight. And sometimes you don't see what's going on under the surface. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You can't possibly know until you see the sprout, grow and develop over time. Now, here's the dilemma. If you're in a connection and this has been a very long time, of back and forth and many rounds and waiting, that's a bit of a different scenario. You have the right to say, okay, like, what is this? Where is this going? And then you make a decision for yourself. If you're in a fairly new connection, and you're trying to move things forward very quickly because of that instant gratification, then you might want to think about what it means to take it slow and trust the process and see how things unfold, because it's definitely not going to help if we're pushing, regardless of the intensity or the connection, right? So let me just take some cards here for each side. On your side, what's one thing that we need to know here? A call to transformation, metamorphosis, the in-between. See, you're feeling the energy of your person. You're feeling the transformation. You're feeling the in-between of the Hangman energy. And I want to remind you that you're mirroring each other, right? If your person is going through a transformation, then so are you, right? Because your energy finds similar energy in another person. If you want different energy, then you need to transform yourself, continue that journey, that evolution, in order to achieve that match vibrationally. So you're feeling the in-between. You're feeling the call to transform. That's why I talk about that golden carrot or that cake analogy, because it's calling you to transform yourself even further. And I know many of you will say, I've done the work. I've done all these things. I'm so exhausted. But again, you don't have to do everything at once. You don't have to put a lot of pressure on yourself. Nothing happens overnight. Sometimes less is more. Now let's take a look at on your person's side. And it says the dream of co-creation, manifestation, divine partnership, frequency. See, you can't make this up. I just said this exact thing. Frequency alignment, manifestation, divine partnership. Partnership grows over time. right? I think sometimes we just get very caught up in the whirlwind of the chemistry, and chemistry does not sustain a relationship. Attraction does not sustain a relationship. So let's take a power of surrender card for each side here just to see what else we need to know. And we have surrender to your full power. Your life is calling for you to step into your full power rather than playing it small. That's that Emperor energy. And look, it's Leo energy. We're in Leo season. You know, this is time to really step up in your own life, not chasing anything, as in other people. It's for you to make the moves you need to make. And on your person side here, we have surrender stubbornness. If you're tensing up or if you're tensing up or taking a rigid stance about something, gently observe yourself and become more yielding. This will help you communicate more lovingly with others and yourself. Your person might be quite stubborn, but I'm going to expand on that very quickly before I finish this reading. And I know this is not an easy topic to discuss, but I feel like I need to address it here. And that is, do you ever notice that your person, and this may not be for everybody, but I know I've experienced it. Have you ever noticed that your person can be so adamant about their capacity and communicate frequently and honestly when they can give and when they can't? And they stay true to that. They will not budge. It's amazing how we, or even myself in that situation that I'm talking about, I didn't listen. I wasn't trusting the process. I was trying to convince the person. You know, this person stood in my home and said, Kelly, I can't give. Kelly, I don't have the capacity. Why do you let me do this? You know, I even had the bold comment that, Kelly, I'm going to run, because they knew it was so intense. And I had to really respect that. I had to really trust the process and respect the process. And if your person is being stubborn and you're trying to push them or convince them and overgive to them, they'll continue to be stubborn. Believe it or not, if you lean back, and that's what I was saying about this Queen of Cups over here, if you lean back and you go do whatever you got to go do, you're more than likely to get what you want or better. You're more than likely to see that they're going to come towards you instead of running from you. And so I sometimes applaud them for their stubbornness, because I wish I had had that level of stubbornness to maintain my boundaries at times. I was so free with my boundaries. You know, I was doing everything for everyone, being everything to everyone. I wish I would have had that level of stubbornness at the time in order to say, hey, look, I need to trust the process. I need to go through the motions of healing and bettering my situation. Now, ultimately, we don't know whether they're really truly going to better their situation, and we can't wait on that either. So it's almost like if you're frustrated about their stubbornness, let them be stubborn. Don't let that affect you. Your growth, your evolution should not be stifled because somebody is in the process of transformation and healing. And I just want to remind you of one last thing. I think I have many last things, but you were once in that position of trying to transition and change, because more than likely you are 10 steps ahead of your person. You understand where they're at. I'm going to bet you that your person is probably going through some things that you used to go through. You have knowledge of that experience. That's why you want to overgive, and that's why you want to help them, and that's why you want to be there for them. But it actually doesn't help the situation. You have to let them figure it out, just like you had to figure it out. And it's hard. Believe me, I've been there. I have the receipts to back that up. But essentially, this is a really lovely reading, and I hope that it resonates with you. I think that right now, a lot of us are going through this healing process of family issues and self-worth, self-value, and self-respect. And we have to find our safe haven, like where we feel good, where we feel safe. And that transformation is going to bring so many rewards. That co-creation brings so many rewards. That's what this is about. It's co-creation. That means balance between two people. If it's one-sided, it's very hard to create, because you can't create for another person, but you can build something together if two people are on the same page. I really hope this resonates with you. Thank you so much for listening to my reading. Please don't forget to like, to comment, to subscribe. It really means the world to me. So thank you very much, and I wish you an amazing day.